You have to understand what the communists do is urinate on everything.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Piss-drunk fraternity guy, you got my ass full of bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to the side to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks and a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planets. Well, I just can't understand it. Fuck defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finished first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She lives in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like Catherine and Gag. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public dominant. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Don't let the bloody spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do this show live. That's on Sundays, usually at 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media, and simulcasting to other platforms that I don't even pay attention to. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the website. Figure out your favorite way to do it. People watching on Twitch, you know how monetization works here. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Thank your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fearless judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
Well, there was something they called a big, beautiful bill that passed this week, and we have some people had some takes about it. And here's one take from Newsmax.
We're actually cutting spending in this bill, getting rid of a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse, putting work requirements, for example, in a program like Medicaid so that the truly disabled and needy will be able to get better access to Medicaid because those able-bodied adults who are turning down work, the 35-year-old who's sitting at his mom's basement playing video games, is going to have to go get a job again. Those are going to be good things for the economy, but it's also something that helps reduce waste, fraud, and abuse and saves hundreds of billions of dollars in those programs.
Oh God! So this guy was once known as David Duke without the baggage. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people on Medicaid who are like 35 years old and playing games in their mom's basement. That's just a weird, like, that keeps recurring, right? Everybody want to be talking about somebody's mom's basement and shit. And Medicaid is like one of the most important programs in the United States. A lot of people, by the way, are on some program maybe that's run by their state that's funded by Medicaid. They have no idea they're on Medicaid. And so they're like, oh, this isn't going to fucking happen. Nothing's going to happen to me, because they don't know that the shit that they're on is Medicaid. Like, for example, I'm on a county health plan here in Alameda County, and it is funded in part by Medicaid. I know that. They're going to fucking take it away from me? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Alameda County will find a way. Up next, we got Mike Johnson on work requirements for Medicaid.
So that's what we do by reinstituting work requirements, right? If you're a young, able-bodied man, you should be helping to pull the wagon, not riding it. And so we have this very popular provision that says if you're going to receive Medicaid, you got to show that you're working or at least looking for a job, or volunteering in your community. Sean, for 20 hours a week. It should be much more, but that is a minimal requirement that will reduce a lot of the abuse of the program and shore it up for the people that need it the most. We're very proud of that. And by the way, the American people love it. It's a common sense provision, and that's a theme through this entire bill. Common sense to get growth going, jet fuel to the U.S. economy so that all boats rise, wages rise, job participation numbers rise, and the economy grows at a rapid pace.
I want to go back.
This is all fucking bullshit, dude. This waste, fraud, and abuse just means like poor people getting shit. I don't know. We'll see. The job numbers weren't great, so not a lot of people finding new work out there. So we'll see how this all goes. I think states like California, New York, even Texas will probably be okay. It's more that like states that don't have any money, like West Virginia, Arkansas and stuff. People there are fucked, and those are all Trump voters. I see a lot of fucking shitlibs on Blue Sky being like, "Oh, you get what you fucking voted for, and you deserve it because you voted for Trump." And I'm like, dude, those are people. Those are fucking people. Don't talk about people that way. Like those are people. They may have made a mistake when they voted, but fucking stop dancing a jig on the grave of their fucking healthcare. Up next, we got more of Mike Johnson. My brain is so fucking pilled. Talking about how we're strengthening the social safety net. You're lying to people.
Joe Biden turned out today. He tweeted his response to the passage of the bill. He called it reckless and cruel. It closes rural hospitals and cuts food assistance for our veterans and seniors. It jacks up energy bills, and it could trigger deep cuts to Medicaid, or Medicare rather, while driving up the deficit by $4 trillion. All of this to give a massive tax breaks to billionaires. Working people deserve better, the former president said. Your response, Mr. Speaker.
Those talking points are older and tireder than Joe Biden himself. None of us believe he actually wrote that. Some staffer did.
Well, nobody believes he wrote that. Some staffer wrote it. Dude, the guy's fucking old. He's old and he doesn't have this. Not as sharp as he once was, but he can write a tweet.
It's distributed by the DNC, the Democratic Party, and they're blatantly false. We can demonstrate that this bill is going to be better for everyone. What we did in Medicaid is strengthen the program, strengthen that safety net so that it is available for the people that need it most. And that's the disabled, the elderly, young pregnant women, for example. We're going to make young, able-bodied men who are able to work. We put work requirements in. That is going to eliminate a lot of the abuse in the program, and it's going to preserve those things for the people that really actually need it. Work requirements, by the way, Raymond, is about an 87% issue in public opinion polling because everybody understands that's common sense.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're...
So what if somebody doesn't have a job and doesn't have health care and now like they're homeless and they break their leg? Like the hospital ends up picking up the bill for that. People don't think about that. Like if you don't have something for people, even if they don't want to work or whatever, the hospital ends up picking up the bill because the hospital's not going to just be like, sorry, we're not treating you. They don't do that. It's illegal in most states for them to turn you away, actually. So the hospital just ends up picking up the bill, and now your hospital goes bankrupt and you ain't got one. Like it's like nobody ever thought. It's almost as if in the minds of these people, nobody ever thought of this before. Right? This stuff. We're the first people who ever thought of this. No, we've seen what happens. Actually, we know what's going to happen. And a lot of hospitals in rural areas and like poor exurbs and maybe some hospitals in cities are going to go under because of this. So this is Mike Lawler. He's a Republican, House member from New York. He went onto the land of misfit anchors to lie about the big bodacious bill.
SALT exemptions and write-offs were hugely important to your constituents. But you know as well as I that within moments of your yes vote on this, many critics were lining up. One global consultant said this afternoon, quote, Lawler is cooked. Another posted that it's estimated that more than 32,000 of your constituents will lose access to health care. Nearly 19,000 will lose food stamps. If those numbers are true, how is this bill good for the people you represent?
Well, those numbers aren't true, and that's part of the challenge here. You have Democrats intentionally lying to the American people and putting out numbers that they're making up out of thin air. The fact is, what we did in this bill on SNAP was give a 5% cost share to the states. The federal government has picked up the entirety of the SNAP program. We're asking the states like New York that have a high error rate, by the way, because there are people collecting benefits that are not actually entitled to them, to pick up 5% of the program.
Oh, that's a good idea. Call your constituents frauds. That's a good idea. That'll get you reelected.
When it comes to Medicaid, we put common sense reforms in place. Number one, eligibility verification, making sure that those who are ineligible do not remain on the rolls. The Biden administration lessened the rules in the aftermath of COVID and allowed people to stay on the Medicaid rolls even when they did not qualify. Number two is citizenship verification.
You know, other countries do this a whole ass different way. You don't have to qualify for shit in other countries. You just show up, and depending on the system, maybe you have a small copay and maybe you don't, and they just fucking see you. And sometimes you got to wait there like you got to wait here. Other countries have fucking figured this out.
To make sure that illegal immigrants are not collecting Medicaid benefits. In New York,
they're not
spending billions of dollars on illegal immigrants collecting Medicaid benefits.
I don't think they are. I don't think they sign up.
That's wrong.
So none of your constituents will lose.
There are nearly four. Elizabeth, this is critical. There are nearly 4 million people.
I'm not saying zero, right? I'm not saying there's zero people here without papers that somehow managed to get Medicaid. I'm just saying that it ain't a thing. It's not like a thing that a lot of people are doing.
Are able-bodied adults without dependent children who refuse to work. I think most Americans recognize, as Democrats did under Bill Clinton, that work requirements are an important component to help people get themselves out of poverty or out of a difficult situation and get into the workforce. We want people to be able to work up to 80 hours a month or volunteer or go to school. That is a common sense reform that most Americans support.
Yeah, but then they go to school and they fucking learn about they read Grapes of Wrath or something, and then they fucking understand Grapes of Wrath, and now you're fucking pissed off at them. they'll learn all that DEI and fucking they'll learn all the woke at school. I don't know. So here's the president of the United States lying about they're not being taxed on Social Security. There's a deduction. There's a deduction that you can, if you make less than a certain amount of money, like from other sources, then there's a tax deduction that you can that you can apply through 2028 conveniently. But that doesn't mean no taxes on Social Security. If you have a pension, for example, or a 401k, or you have some investment income, you pay in taxes on your Social Security. So he's just fucking lying here.
Beautiful country. Just as I promised, we're making the Trump tax cuts permanent and delivering no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Right? Front Row Joe. We got
Who the fuck is Front Row Joe?
Here. That's very nice. Thank you. Thank you. And we have Mr. Wall. Someday I'm buying that suit, I'm telling you.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? What is this guy? What suit is he going to buy? Who's Front Row Joe? Is he talking about Joe Biden? Joe Biden better not be at this fucking event. Is Tim Walz there? Like, what the fuck, man? Is Jeb there ready to throw the first Molotov? Like, what's going on? So chat tells me the Front Row Joe is just whoever shows up early at the Trump rally. All right. I thought he had some new fucking name he was using. Maybe to somehow shit on Joe Biden or something. I don't know. Hard to keep up with this guy's bullshit. So what we have next is here's another lie from the president of the United States saying that this is the most popular piece of legislation ever. I was seeing polling where 65-70% of people oppose this, and that's got to include Republicans. So, all right, dude, just tell some lies.
And just say what it is, because it's the most popular bill ever signed in the history of our country.
No, it's not. Shut the fuck up.
Anybody else? This is the most popular bill ever signed.
No. Obamacare, or I'm sorry, the ACA was far more popular than this, and y'all did everything you possibly could to tear down that legislatively and from a public perception standpoint. Like, hell shit's more popular than your fucking bill. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, this one, we were expecting a series of flyovers, but we were expecting a series of them. I thought maybe for a second she was like, I'm just going to look right at the sun.
We're standing by right now awaiting another flyover at the White House there with the president and the first lady. Just listen to the national anthem. We're expecting now a series of flyovers that will include 5 B-2s, a bunch of F-22s, a bunch of F-35s.
Ooh, which one is it? The F-35? That shit might just crash into the White House.
This evening, some of these the same aircraft that were used to carry the bunker buster bombs that destroyed Iranian nuclear facilities 2 weeks ago. A big moment for the president. Let's go ahead and bring in the panel while we're awaiting the president's remarks getting underway here.
Maybe it was just some scheduling thing where Fox News was unaware of the schedule, but I like to think that the pilot was just like, nah. Sorry, sick today. Oh, this was good. Everybody probably saw this. I was like, he said what?
And very importantly for Iowa, this bill rescues over 2 million family farms from the so-called estate tax or the death tax. In other words, before Trump, you were losing farms to the banks. Before Trump, you were losing the farms like nobody's ever seen before. You love your children. You don't feel so well, you pass away, you leave everything to your children, and they have to pay a big estate tax or a death tax, as we call it, and they couldn't do it. They go out and borrow money, and all of a sudden the bank is foreclosing on the farm. Not going to happen. You have no more estate tax. You have no more death tax to pay.
You had to be, like, the estate, I think, had to be like, what was it, 6 million, 7, some, like, large number of dollars before you started paying tax on an inheritance.
Love your children. If you don't love your children, it doesn't matter. Just forget about what I said. Not going to help. But if you love them or if you love somebody that you're leaving it to, think of that. No death tax, no estate tax, no going to the banks and borrowing from, in some cases, a fine banker, and in some cases, Shylocks and bad people. They took away a lot of family. They destroyed a lot of families. But we did the So just remember, to me, it's so important, and it was mostly important for places like we're at right now. It's really, I'm so proud of it.
We're not at like JQ here. We're at that was something else. Not a question there. It was just like a fucking just a straight up anti-Semitism there. Yikes, dude. I try not to repeat slurs. That's a slur for Jewish people. I think everybody knows that. That's a slur. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why? Why is he doing that? All the while they're like, oh, everybody's anti-Semitic because they think the Palestinian people shouldn't be bombed into oblivion. My fucking God. So you remember how all the people like Daily Wire and all those places were like trying to get you to have some white babies? Well, I think maybe they're not trying to get you to have fucking white babies anymore.
What exactly is in the latest version of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill? Well, the making permanent of the Trump tax cuts. And again, so much of what happened with this bill is rooted in an unbelievably stupid idea, which is that if you're going to assess the additional debt created by the bill, we have to assume that the tax cuts were going to expire, so-called baseline budgeting. The idea was that since the tax cuts were set to sunset at a certain point, that we would simply assume that the tax expenditures coming into the government, the tax revenue to the government, would automatically increase. And so if you maintain the tax rates at the same rate, that actually was increasing the deficit, which again is sort of a weird accounting trick. And that necessitated cuts in other areas in order to offset those supposed additions to the deficit. The projected cost of the continuation of the tax cuts, some $4 trillion. But again, that's it's not a new tax cut. It's a continuation of current tax rates, preventing a reversal of the tax cuts. The state and local tax deduction, that provision would allow people to deduct up to $40,000 per year for 5 years from their federal income taxes. As part of the compromise with Senate Republicans, the cap would go back down to $10,000 per year after 5 years. Now, in reality, again, is it likely to sunset like that? Pretty unlikely. The bill also includes no tax on tips, overtime, and car loans. It includes making permanent the annual child tax credit at a level of $2,200. House Republicans want to bump it to $2,500 and then scale it back to $2,000 after 2028. And again, the child tax credit is essentially a giveaway to people who don't pay taxes in the first place, like the earned income tax credit. Very often, you're giving a tax credit to people who don't pay taxes.
Oh, remember that for a while they were like, you need to have white babies. And now it's like, well, no, don't have any babies. No tax credit for you. The child tax credit, I think it was just for everyone. I don't think it was means tested.
Back. The bill would provide Customs and Border Patrol with $47 billion to build the wall. And
my God, $47 billion. Is that a year?
Lights and sensors. It also includes $2 billion for Department of Homeland Security and about $30 billion for ICE. The bill includes $25 billion for President Trump.
So $77 billion for immigration enforcement. $77 billion.
Golden Dome missile defense system. Another $30
like Star Wars.
For shipbuilding.
Remember when people made fun of Reagan for Star Wars? Now it's a golden dome. It's a golden dome and it fucking stops the golden shower from falling on you. Oh my fucking God. So little column A and little column B over there from fucking Tiny Dancer Ben Shapiro, right? This is Jim McGovern, Democrat from Massachusetts, on the tax cuts in this big, as somebody in chat called it, the big booty bill. The Democrats in the House, they're going to write a strongly worded letter. I'm telling you, it's going to be fine, baby. They're going to write a strongly worded letter.
And this bill showers the wealthiest Americans with tax cuts. Get this, a family making less than $50,000 per year, they'd get less than $1 a day in tax cuts. I mean, you can't buy a damn cup of coffee with that. But those making $1 million a year or more, well, they'll get more than $250 a day in tax breaks, or $96,000 tax breaks on average in a single year. I mean, that's even worse than the original House bill. That's how rigged this bill is to benefit the wealthy. The average millionaire gets more in tax cuts than most families earn in an entire year.
Yep.
And to be clear, there is deep support on the Democratic side for extending the middle class tax cuts and passing no tax on tips. We'd be happy to work with you on something that delivers just that. But Republicans are holding bipartisan initiatives hostage to provide handouts to billionaires and gut Medicaid and SNAP. Now, meanwhile...
Now, don't get me wrong. If you protest too loudly or too meanly, this guy's going to complain about it. But don't worry, he'll take care of it. He'll grandstand about it. He'll fundraise on it. But don't you dare block a freeway or do anything. Don't you dare call the cops pigs. Up next, we got another guy. He's like, you don't give a shit about the middle class, but this guy doesn't give a shit about the middle class either. You just maybe they vote for him. I don't know.
We've kept our heads down. We've kept our sleeves rolled up. We've kept our shoulder to the wheel. And all we've asked for is a fair shot and for this place to stop screwing us over. But you can't help yourselves. You got us into terrible trade deals that made Wall Street rich and shipped all of our jobs overseas. You bail out the banks while neglecting rural America. You've rigged the economy so the corporate PACs that are funding your campaigns make huge profits, jacking up costs on folks who can't afford it. And now this bill will kill good blue-collar manufacturing jobs that we need to rebuild the economy in this country. It closes rural hospitals, it defunds health care, all to give trillions of dollars in tax cuts to your cronies. Don't tell me you give a shit about the middle class when all you're doing is shitting on the middle class.
Sir.
Good job. Chair would remind both sides of two things. Please direct your remarks to the chair. That is a House rule, and to avoid vulgar speak.
Vulgar speak, everybody. No vulgar speak. That was the other thing we were going to call this podcast network. Actually, we're going to call it vulgar speak.
Families in the gentleman will not be recognized. Gentlelady from North Carolina. Gentlelady from North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for reminding us of the language we should be using in this chamber, and I reserve.
All right. Well, that's fucking all right. Whatever. Get him, Grandma. So there's people are like, oh, you're going to hear a lot about this, the thing they're calling current policy baseline. It's basically saying that, like, well, we don't have to actually include the money from the extension of the tax cuts that we're extending because it's current policy, so the fucking money doesn't exist. It's like, even little tiny dancer Ben was calling it like an accounting trick, but it's just a lie. Just an absolute fucking lie. So here's a hit from MSNBC about it. I'm sorry, I don't like taking stuff from MSNBC, but what are you going to do?
Do I like this bill? No, because I tried to take care of Alaska's interests. But I know that in many parts of the country, there are Americans that are not going to be advantaged by this bill. I don't like that.
I just keep thinking about.
Then she voted for it.
Murkowski said, though, which is basically an acknowledgement that yes, she was able to get things for Alaska, but the bill was not good for the other 49 states. I understand your job, your task is to represent the people of Connecticut. Is there any sweetener they could have come to you with simply for the people of Connecticut that would have been good?
Like, can everybody have a pony?
Have sold out the other 49 states.
No, they used an accounting gimmick. Another fact that
I want to talk about that. Can we talk about that? Because I want you to put this very wonky language for me into plain English as best you can. So this is from NBC News. To pass their bill, Republicans voted along party lines to set an aggressive new precedent that will have a lasting impact on the Senate. They used a trick known as current policy baseline to obscure the cost of extending 2017 tax cuts, essentially lowering the sticker price by $3.8 trillion. That tactic, backed by all 53 Republicans, hasn't been used in the filibuster-proof process before and weakens the Senate's 60-vote threshold. Right. Just first of all, just explain that to me.
Well, to put it in the most simple terms, their view is if you extend a tax cut, even though it balloons the deficit, you don't need to count it because it's already a tax cut in the law, which would have expired. But all you're doing is extending it. So the baseline, in essence, is moved through this accounting gimmick or trick. And what they did also was to use the reconciliation process, which, as you know, is supposed to apply only to the budget, to make very sweeping policy changes or attempt to do it. They tried to, in effect, preempt all state laws on artificial intelligence. We pushed back. We won that fight. But the baseline gimmick essentially disguises the ballooning deficit. But then
I think Trump stopped caring about the part about AI as soon as he had a falling out with Elon.
Not going to hide it from Wall Street and from the bond market. And that's where our interest rate is going to go up for the debt that is going to have to be issued to cover that ballooning deficit.
That's why you already saw Moody's putting us on the decline.
Oh, yeah, the interest rates are going up, but I didn't include any clips of it because it was a little bit kind of wonky and in the weeds. But now Trump's like basically bitching at the Fed chair because they're not lowering interest rates. It's fucking shit has gone fucking completely potato. Like it's not great. And I don't know. Maybe he'll just replace the people at the Fed. He doesn't like bankers, though. He called them a slur earlier. Up next, this is from the UN. This is the deputy ambassador for Palestine talking about accusations of anti-Semitism vis-a-vis people opposing the actions of the nation state of Israel.
Very clear, when we speak of genocide, in no way do we hold Jews around the world responsible for Israel's actions. These are legal determinations. These are crimes that have a definition. If I say Israel commits war crimes and crimes against humanity and genocide, nobody can answer that we are fueling anti-Semitism, except those who have a confusion between the acts of the Israeli government and the Jews around the world. And that's an unacceptable confusion. We will never go there. Those responsible are those doing the act. And you cannot say that they are responsible because of their identity, nor you can say they are innocent based on their identity. The identity of the perpetrators and the identity of the victims is not relevant here. It is the actions that are being committed. And we can have a legal debate over the qualification of genocide, despite the overwhelming conclusion reached by many legal experts around the world and many organizations around the world that are extremely credible. I think it's more important to focus on ending the killing. But it is not acceptable to use Jewish people or the Holocaust as a shield from holding Israel accountable for the commission of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. It is irresponsible to do that. It is unacceptable to do that.
But counterpoint, the Palestinians have the wrong imaginary friend. Act like you know. Yeah, this is, I mean, I've been talking about this for a long time, like on here and on Blue Sky. I've especially been getting on people on Blue Sky about it because a lot of shitlibs don't understand this. It is anti-Semitic, in fact, to conflate the international Jewish diaspora with the nation state of Israel. That's what's anti-Semitic, right? You're all Jews, so you're all like Israel. No, actually, most Jews don't live in Israel. So that's actually what's anti-Semitic, and it's deeply offensive. It's like every Catholic is Italian now. Get the fuck out of here. And in this week's Do Not Look Away, check this out. This shit's crazy. It's still crazy. I hope people aren't getting fucking like worn down by this stuff. I don't see a lot of big protests. Like the protests on July 4th seemed a little underwhelming.
Absolutely. Another female. Absolutely. And they were assaulting the gentleman that was being in the car. I have the video of the Hold on, man. For what? For what? What the fuck is going on?
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! Oh! I can't breathe! What is this?
What are the local cops doing there? Fuck the local cops. Wait, why are they going after her now? Wait, why are they going after her? She was, because she was filming them.
What the fuck is this?
That's a fucking video!
They don't care that it's on video. They're doing it to get on video.
Get him the fuck out of here!
There's this is just gonna keep happening. Nobody's gonna stop it. You know, local PD is not gonna stop it. But I do kind of, I don't know. These places are supposed to be sanctuary cities. It ain't. The police aren't your friend, though. They're not there to protect and serve. But we're getting, they're going places. They're sort of out kind of in the burbs now. That wasn't like a city center. They got a lot of resistance in the city centers. And so they're probably going to start going after, they're probably going to be focusing on the burbs where it's harder to rally people, or even like rural areas like Central Valley, California, I bet. Like where there's a lot of farm workers, they're probably going to start going to those places because it's harder if people just don't all live, if there's not like a million people within like a 2-mile radius or whatever, it's hard to rally people who are willing to put their body on the line. So, I think that they kind of change tactics and or maybe not in the city centers anymore. We'll see though. We'll see. So apparently somebody tried to cannibalize themselves while in ICE custody or something, according to Cosplay Christie.
By thanking our ICE officers and our Border Patrol officers for what they do every day. They are out on the streets, and violence against them has increased over 500% since Trump has gone back into the White House.
I bet the incident we just watched, they're cataloging as a violence against the enforcers.
Socialists and Marxists are out there lying about what President Trump is doing. President Trump is upholding freedom by what he is doing. The freedom to live
That didn't look like freedom to me a second ago.
in this country and to do things legally and to have justice. And because those liberals, and I'm calling out you, CNN, I'm calling you out because you lie every single day about what these operations are. We are going after murderers and rapists and traffickers and drug dealers and getting...
I don't know that lady doing... Was that lady that we just saw get fucking arrested for filming them? Was she doing trafficking? Oops. Where were we?
And rapists and traffickers and drug dealers and getting them off the streets and getting them out of this country because Joe Biden let the worst of the worst come in here. The other day I was talking to some marshals that have been partnering with ICE. They said that they had detained a cannibal and put him on a plane to take him home. And while they had him in his seat, he started to eat himself.
What?
And they had to get him off and get him medical attention. These are the kind of deranged individuals that are on our streets in America that we're trying to target and get out of our country because they are so deranged they don't belong here. And they shouldn't be walking the streets with our children. And they shouldn't be living in the community.
I'm sorry, what? I wonder what the story here is of this person that just started eating themselves. It's not funny, but it kind of is, because there's no... What the fuck is she talking about? People are so crazy. Cannibal. He was a cannibal. He ran out of people to eat because he was, in custody. So he started eating himself. The Dems, they're not giving this Gulag thing they got going in Florida, they're not giving it a fair shake.
And we have a Fox News alert. President Trump just announced June border crossings are the lowest recorded numbers in American history. 47 says.
So tourism too.
0 illegals were released into the country, and there's more help on the way. Tonight, the ice gators are officially on patrol. Alligator Alcatraz is open for detention.
That's Alligator Auschwitz.
And the first batch of bad hombres are checking into their swamp suites. Democrats, they're not...
Their swamp suites? Tell me how this isn't a fucking concentration camp.
Chance. They think it's a torture chamber.
Alligator Alcatraz. Are we serious right now? These people are literally supervillains. But they're not very good at it. They're just cruel.
It's minutia. And will all be worth it when this bill pours hundreds of billions of dollars into pulling people off the streets, putting them in overcrowded facilities, and disappearing them out of the country, all in the name of Trump's cruel immigration policy.
That's odd. Psaki had no problemo with Biden's cages. Gator Gitmo isn't the left's only headache. They're still trying.
Gator, you're calling it. Does this guy Gitmo? What? He's just calling it Gitmo?
ICE agents in L.A. Activists hijacked a bridge yesterday, and then the mostly peaceful protest turned into a mariachi mixer.
Mariachi mixer? They hijacked the bridge. They were fucking line dancing. That was the whitest shit I've seen in a while. You fucking mad at white people line dancing now, I guess? That shit was like raisins in the potato salad white. Up next, according to Steve Bannon, actually, these are just a place for people to congregate. It's like a book club.
You see right there, the president. The president. Can we keep the shot? I don't want to lose that shot unless he's got to take it down. The president having these impromptu press avails is what they're called. Press avails. You see that Wrangler. Her job is to keep them, pre-positioned, and of course, right there, everything, and that's why presidents continue on the tour. What Governor DeSantis and Kristi Noem says is starting tomorrow morning, the facility will be open. And what Kristi Noem is saying is, hey, if you don't want to come to this facility, just do self-deportation. Just leave. The only reason they're going to, use this as a congregation facility.
A congregation facility, like a church.
Is to make sure they can expedite your leaving the United States, because guess what? You're here and you're not a citizen. And if you're here illegally, if you come for the phony amnesty that Biden tried to set up, then you're going to go home. One of the key elements that I don't want to bury the lead, Governor DeSantis says that they're going to federalize, they're preparing and studying federalizing the National Guard to be deportation judges. Remember the funny scam of the Biden regime is
the Florida, just random people in the Florida National Guard are now going to be fucking immigration judges? Is that what you just said? Maybe not random people, right? They'll be probably screened for their politics.
We don't have any of these deportation, we can't run these deportation courts. We can't run these amnesty courts to have people have due process. And with DeSantis saying, although I think the due process is grossly overstated, it ought to be get them on a plane and get them the hell out of here. Governor DeSantis saying,
well, then you have a problem with the fucking Constitution, my friend, because the Constitution says people, not citizens.
Up the National Guard and stand up the National Guard and have them as these deportation judges, stamp it. Okay, we heard you. Move on. Gone. This facility is going to open.
That's the opposite of due process.
You heard the president saying that
that's not even a process.
Should come out here immediately and meet with Secretary Noem and Governor DeSantis and learn something. We need California to get with the program. And this is this huge fight against the neo-Confederates like Gavin Newsom about this.
Gavin Newsom is a neo-Confederate. I mean, I got a lot of criticism of Gavin Newsom, but a neo-Confederate.
As soon as we get more audio, as soon as we get a better picture, more audio, we're going to go right to it. The president thinks actually going to have a step in and have a real facility. Not the best shot right there. Real America's Voice. We get that camera.
I don't know. This is what happens when fucking union camera people won't work with you because you're fucking Steve Bannon. You get shots of everybody's fucking shoes. Yeah, that's just a place to congregate. It's a congregation. It's like a church. Here's the president. He likes this idea of this alligator Auschwitz, and he thinks we should have them in all the states. Actually, it's like why only have a concentration camp in Florida when we could have them fucking everywhere?
Mr. President, given the likelihood of the One Big Beautiful Bill passing, and we look forward to the success of this facility here, how many more facilities like this do you feel that the country needs in order to enact your agenda of mass deportations?
Well, I think we'd like to see them in many states, really, many states. This one, I know Ron's doing a second one, at least a second one, and probably a couple of more. And, at some point, they might morph into a system where you're going to keep it for a long time. It's not that far away from jails that take years to build and money is spent and wasted. And, like the railway that they have in California that costs like 40 times more than it was supposed to cost. The same things happens with prisons. You look at this in a short period of time, Ron, James, and some of the people that really worked on it along with our people, they did this in less than a week. And you look at it, it's incredible.
Yeah, when you ignore like any safety concerns about like the fact that this isn't like the path of a hurricane or anything like that, yeah, you can pop these up real quick. It is interesting though. We can't pop up tents like this for the homeless, right? Obviously, we don't want like a concentration camp for the homeless, but it is interesting that we can't move this quickly to provide even temporary housing for homeless folks. I find that interesting. Up next, here's more of Steve Bannon. I hear Steve Bannon suggesting we should deport like fucking everybody, including like apartheid Clyde, Elon Musk.
Elmo the Mook, formerly known as Elon Musk, Elmo the Mook, he's today in another smear, and this only a foreigner could do this. Think about it. He's got up on Twitter right now a poll about starting an America party. A non-American starting an America party. No, brother, you're not an American. You're a South African.
Yeah, but you like white South Africans.
We take enough time and prove the facts of that, you should be deported because it's a crime of what you did, among many.
It's not like I don't like fucking apartheid Clyde, but it's not a crime to start a political party, no matter where you were from. You totally within your rights. It's stupid, but you're totally within your rights to start a political party. But that's the fucking dumb. I'm fucking believing in rights and shit now. In fact, did you know we should just deport anyone Trump doesn't like? Check it.
I like to say, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen, and it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that
where.
Together. But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents.
Oh no. Now anybody who commits a crime and lives in a big city now is just going to get sent to fucking El Salvador, I guess. This is horrible. This is all horrible. You know what? While we're at it, let's just prosecute CNN. Let's just go after CNN too, because they reported something that we didn't like. Let's just get them. Fuck them. Get rid of CNN.
And Madam Secretary, CNN yesterday pushed an app that lets you track where ICE agents are. Tom Homan was saying that perhaps CNN should be prosecuted for that. That's obstruction of law enforcement. Your response?
Yeah, we're working with the Department of Justice to see if we can prosecute them for that, because what they're doing.
We're telling you about an app?
Encouraging people to avoid law enforcement activity.
I mean, I encourage you to avoid law enforcement. Law enforcement, they're not your friends.
And we're going to actually go after them and prosecute them with the partnership of PAM if we can, because what they're doing, we believe, is illegal.
And they may be prosecuted also for having given false reports on the attack in Iran. Yes. They were given totally false reports. It was totally obliterated. And our people...
Iran was totally obliterated. There are some news outlets that are skeptical at the scope of the obliteration. And so we should just fucking throw them in a concentration camp.
Not come home and say, what do you mean we didn't hit the target? We hit the target prison. The pilots came home and they said we hit the target prison. So they may be very well prosecuted for that. What they did there we think is totally illegal. Okay, let's go.
Wait, it's not illegal for the news to get something wrong. Assuming that CNN even got it wrong, it is totally not illegal to report on something that isn't true.
Hi, Brian.
That's fucking wild, dude. We're gonna fucking prosecute CNN for telling people about an app and then for reporting on our bombing of Iran in a way that we didn't particularly like. Man, they fucking... My title for this clip is probably stupid, but I'm like, damn, they even pissed off the horse girls. I have no idea if Homegirl has a horse. She just kind of looks like she might. Anyway, they pissed off the horse girls.
I just saw somebody make an argument online that said that the people who get sent to Alligator Alcatraz, or whatever the fuck they're calling it, all they have to do is work and then they'll get their citizenship. And I feel like we're forgetting that Auschwitz literally has a sign in the front of the camp that says work will set you free in German. Are we fucking forgetting that? And this is one of those things that I think is absolutely disgusting, and I will never stop fucking talking about it, because there is no way in hell you guys cannot be that fucking obtuse to not see the correlation. You can't. You're choosing not to see the correlation. You bitches would have told on Anne Frank. So.
You bitches would have told on Anne Frank is some shit coming from a fucking horse girl. My God. They also pissed off the people who do the weather, it seems like, particularly this guy. And I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. They fucking, I think just today, actually, or maybe yesterday it was, that the Pentagon stopped providing satellite information to people who are reporting on the weather and doing things like tracking hurricanes. So that's great. It's fun.
When is it going to turn? John, it's not turning. It's coming straight to us. It's going to turn. That was about 6 years ago. That was Hurricane Dorian, as it was absolutely devastating the Northwest Bahamas as a Category 5, sat over that region for 2 days. It was headed straight west. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you it's going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year, because of the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country. But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that these cuts are stopped.
So this one, like Trump's like a lame duck, right? He can't get reelected, so he probably doesn't care. But this one's like going to impact his voters, right? Because like I said, I was talking last week, we were talking about this, or I was. It's not like we're having some kind of big conversation here. Cities do pretty well in hurricanes, you know, like obviously there's damage, right? But cities have, you know, pretty advanced like drainage systems. Buildings are generally newer, built better, that kind of stuff. But you get outside into the suburbs or the exurbs or the rural areas, that's where you see people's fucking roofs being blown off their houses and shit, and all this flooding and shit. There's flooding in the cities, but it clears more quickly generally, except for New Orleans. One time, they built that below sea level. Fucking dumbasses. But like the rural areas are where the devastation is going to be. Not only is the infrastructure not as prepared, there's just not like the human capital, the human infrastructure, right? Like in cities, there's people doing like a lot of mutual aid and stuff during any kind of disaster, not just a hurricane. As you get out into the country, it's harder to do mutual aid just because it's harder to get to your neighbor's place and stuff. So this is going to really hurt the fucking people that they're going to be asking for their vote again next time around. And like I said, Trump doesn't care. He's either not going to run again or like declare elections unconstitutional or some shit. But it's going to be real bad for the fucking Republican Party. And like, I'm good on anything that's bad for the Republican Party. I mean, I'm okay with kind of, but not this, because fucking people are going to die, dude. People are going to fucking die because they don't leave, because they don't know where the fuck the hurricane's going to go. So they're like, oh, I can't just go to New York, right? So they don't, even if they were inclined to leave, what if they leave and they go somewhere and they fucking, where they go, now they're in the path of the hurricane, right? Like, it's fucked up. This is so dumb, and it's more or less like an attack on rural America. I don't think they know that, or maybe they do and they don't care. I don't know. Anyway, we're about an hour in, and here's our palate cleanser. Thanks to Ali Drew for putting this in the Discord.
Look around. Every now and then I get a little excited that you're gonna find out. Fuck around. Every now and then I get a little frustrated that you didn't listen to us at all. Fuck around. Gonna get cut off from my friends and family, and your coworkers will think you're a dick. Fuck around. It's hard to feel bad when you voted for the rights of millions of people away. Fuck around, find out. It's really fun to watch you fall apart.
wish I believed that they were going to find out. Not for nothing, both the guy and the gal, they have fucking pipes, dude. Especially the dude. The dude can hella sing. Anyway, that was our palate cleanser. I feel like we fucking needed that. Up next, people in the chat were talking about the flooding in Texas. It seems like there's some Texas officials not super happy with the way the National Weather Service is being run at this time. Couldn't imagine why.
Original forecast that we received on Wednesday from the National Weather Service predicted 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Concho Valley and 4 to 8 inches of rain in the Hill Country. We worked with our own meteorologists to fine-tune that weather statement, and as many of you know, and many of you in broadcast journalism and meteorology, you can go back and look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts.
This rain event sat on top of that and dumped more rain than what was forecasted on both of those forks. When we got the report, it was about 7 feet or so on the South Fork, and within a matter of minutes it was up to 29 feet, and all of that converged at the Guadalupe, and that's where we saw those very quick rise in flood.
But listen, everybody got the forecast from the National Weather Service, right? You all got it. You're all in media. You got that forecast. It did not predict the amount of rain that we saw.
The fucked up part about this is we just don't know in this case, like, is, you know, the National Weather Service has made mistakes before, but we don't know in this case, like, is this just that, you know, the very competent people made a prediction and then the weather being the weather, the storm being a storm, things turned out to be different than what was broadcast? Or is this because there's a bunch of fucking Trump cronies running the National Weather Service and they just wanted to, like, tell everybody it was going to be fine? Because they're like, oh, it's going to be great. Actually, it's going to be fantastic. It'll be the best storm ever. And we don't know. We don't fucking know. I don't know if we're ever going to find out. Here's cosplay Christy Nome talking about the floods and the response.
Why was the National Weather Service not pinging their phones before 7 o'clock the day of 4th of July? Any of the federal people can answer that maybe for us. I got updates at 7 o'clock. First one I heard. And I've heard updates throughout the week, but not before 7 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't that a fundamental failure of the federal government's responsibility to keep us safe?
Well, you know, my background is before I was in the secretary position here under the Trump administration, I was governor of South Dakota and served in Congress for 8 years before I was governor. And so I will tell you that for decades, for years, everybody knows that the weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many years, and that is the reforms that are ongoing there.
So they're she's like, oh, it's just old technology. I don't know what they're upgrading. This is some fucking tech bro bullshit, right? Like, just take the L. Like, also, like, South Dakota, like, there's not no weather events there, but homegirl, South Dakota don't have the kind of weather events that the Gulf states do. It just doesn't. So there's that. So I don't know why the news. Why is the news talking about all these people that are missing? Why aren't they talking about people who didn't go missing?
This is so unfathomable. It's really hard to get your arms around this. You're a Texan. You live there. These are your constituents. What are you hearing, seeing, and feeling in Texas this morning?
Well, it's a very sad time, but it's also a time when 850 plus campers were accounted for and recovered. I talked to a friend of mine who's a former colleague of yours in the House of Representatives who had 2 daughters there, and they had just gotten home late yesterday afternoon. And
oh, that's great. The people whose fucking family members are missing are real glad. They fucking love this guy, right? He's like, oh, somebody else's kids are home now. Somebody else's loved ones are at home right now. Why aren't we talking about that? There's somebody right now, somebody who maybe saw this, threw their shoe at the television, right?
By the whole event, but they were just beside themselves with joy that they had recovered their children. But tragically, as you point out, there are 27 campers, these young girls, still missing. And this was a 100-year flood event in an area that...
Yeah, but didn't we have one of those like 3 years ago?
Known to flood, but nothing like this, where the floodwaters rose 26 feet in about 45 minutes in the middle of the night. So a terrible tragedy, but thanks to President Trump and Secretary Noem,
for what?
The federal disaster relief has been provided at the request of Governor Abbott, and it's just a time of very many conflicting feelings, but primarily we're very sad for those who've lost their lives and the unaccounted for. Governor Abbott has called today a day of prayer, and we are still saying our prayers here in Texas for those who've grieving and those who are still unaccounted for.
Oh, speaking of prayer, I got nothing on that one. That guy's an asshole. Really, like, well, what about the people we fucking rescued? Well, yeah, I guess it's good that those people aren't missing too, but what the fuck? But don't worry. We're going to pray. This is Mike Johnson on Fox News Sunday. This will take care of it. Thoughts and prayers.
State and federal resources have just poured into that area. Is there anything more that can be done congressionally, legislatively to help these folks?
In a moment like this, we feel just as helpless as everyone else does. I've talked to my colleagues there in Texas, Chip Roy and August Pfluger, whose families, that's Chip's district. August's daughters were at the camp. We also had Betty Carter of Georgia, had grandchildren there. It touches so many families, and all we know to do at this moment is pray. Every available resource has been deployed. The president, of course, is dialed in and watching this develop moment by moment as we are, and we'll handle supplemental funding requests as they come in. But right now, they're still trying to do rescue and recovery, and our hearts go out to all of them.
Yeah, we're just going to pray. We're just praying. God damn. This next one, I was going to put it in red light because of the kind of thing it is, but it just seemed to fit so well right here after the ask Jesus for help fucking clips and the well, nobody's talking about the ones who didn't get fucking, nobody's talking about the ones we found. So this is a person whose name is concerned citizen, and their ad on Twitter is B Gates is a psycho. So if I'm going to shock everyone here, Homeboy's going to say that this is the result of the fucking weather machine.
My name's Steve Jarvis. Do y'all want answers for what happened in Texas? You want answers? I have the answers. And you are going to have to do some research on how to get it. But there's your picture right there of Texas and the big flood.
Man, he's not even zooming in on a map like on a computer. He's got his papers.
Okay, July 4th. And all those little girls missing, I bless them, bless their families. But I want to tell you, all of this flooding in Texas, and Rainmaker has publicly available NOAA docs on their cloud seeding project. Everyone must start this.
Man, if cloud seeding actually worked as well as this guy's claiming it does, there'd be no drought anywhere.
If you want to know what happened, this is where you start. Everybody's showing all the flooding and everything. I'm giving you the documents. I'm telling you. So what you're going to do, you're going to go to the NOAA library, right? And you got to scroll down to the bottom of the page, but you'll see this is weather and climate collections. So you're going to scroll down to the bottom of that page there, and you're going to type in Texas. And what you're going to find is you're going to find this. I've highlighted it here. You're going to find, and it'll tell you when they were seeding. Okay. Because let's face it, folks, 30 foot of water in an hour at 4 a.m., people didn't have a chance. So when you get down here, what you're going to find out is it'll pull up a page like this, and you pull it up, and then it tells you the companies.
Oh man. I bet Jim Lee hates this guy just because he's like another chemtrail person. Yeah, that could have been on Conspiracy Bingo. I saw that in the chat, or it could have been like in Red Light, but it just like fit in so well right there. Again, shout out to the fucking Discord. I couldn't do this show without the Discord. Y'all find the wildest shit. Here's they're talking about Zoran because of course they are. Apparently, as 4th of July approached and everybody was going to eat a bunch of hamburgers, hot dogs, and fucking barbecue chips and fucking ribs and shit. Did you know that it's gross to eat anything with your hands?
So right now there is a viral clip of Zoran Mamdani giving an interview while he's doing something that quite honestly is very disgusting, yet calculated. He's doing it for a reason, but also just kind of show what he is pointing towards. I have many thoughts on this. And whether it's orchestrated or not, first we just need to make a comment that we in the West value cleanliness. We have utensils. We teach our kids to use utensils. They say, well, what about burgers and pizza? Yeah, that food is designed that way. Rice, since we have utensils, you don't eat it because we're not in the third world.
Wait, we don't eat rice because we're not in the third world? I mean, I know he means eat it with his hands. I seen some fucking crazy people eating fucking rice with chopsticks, and they're good at it. Different people in different cultures eat food differently.
With your hands. This is Zoran Mamdani eating disgustingly, talking about the struggle of Palestine. It's so contrived. Play cut 251.
So the third holy grail of taboos in American politics, you have socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Palestine. And you are really going for the trifecta. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Oh, that biryani's probably shit. Oh, I think that's biryani. That's probably the shit. You go to a nice Indian, like an upscale Indian restaurant, and people order biryani, and you see people eating it with their hands all the time. That's some rich people shit here in America.
Part of your politics.
When you grow up as someone, especially in the third world, you have a very different understanding of the Palestinian struggle.
So he's not even eating with his hands correctly. People that have grown up in the third world, they say he's not even doing it right. He's just faking it. He's doing this to signal his third world cred. So think about it. To get credibility in the New York mayor's race, you have to pretend to be in the third world.
Oh, the rest of that clip, by the way, I didn't run it because he was talking about, or maybe it was a tweet. He was talking about how you like scratch your asshole with your hands. Oh God, no, you don't. This is great. This is from Fox News. This is I'm gonna tell the you know who loves being told things about Judaism from by Fox News is fucking Jews in New York. So did you know that if you vote for Democrats, you're anti-Semitic?
Yeah, here's why I think this is an interesting look into his campaign. He was unknown as of 6 months or a year ago, right? He is a new candidate who has tapped into energy and concerns about cost of living, things that you mentioned. He has repeatedly said he abhors anti-Semitism. Increasing anti-hate crime funding by 800%, that's real. That will help in New York. And don't take my word for it. Prominent Jewish New Yorkers, Jerry Nadler, Brad Lander, they have said they have endorsed him.
You're talking politicians who want their party to be in office,
but they're Jewish,
but Harris, of anything that they believe in.
That's not true.
I mean,
are you questioning Jerry Nadler or Brad Lander's commitment to Judaism?
100%.
Wow.
Yes.
I wouldn't question anyone's commitment to their faith.
The same way that I would question Chuck Schumer, who works against the interest of his own people at times for the politics.
Let me finish
that's what they're doing here.
What I'm saying here. Prominent Jewish New Yorkers have said they have met with him. They believe that he abhors anti-Semitism and will help New York do better.
Then why not condemn a globalized intifada?
I think that he should be more sensitive to the context in which many people hear that language, and I think he should condemn it. But I think that painting him with a brush that because he's wordsmithing, because he doesn't want to censor, that everything else he's said about condemning anti-Semitism, Jewish leaders saying he is good for their community.
Not everybody.
No, but a lot. I think that matters too. And I don't think he's an anti-Semite.
I don't see three people being a lot, but we can get back into it another time.
Well, no, fucking three people. The fucking, so far as we can tell, the New York Jews in the primary, overwhelmingly voted for this guy. It's not just three people. He fucking won.
The primary was not small. Maybe 1 in 5, 2 in 5 Jewish New Yorkers. We're still getting data here. That's not a small number of Jews. I don't think you should discount their.
No, I thought it was the other way. I thought it was 60%. Oh, well, wait a minute, because not everybody voted. Okay.
Voters, they can vote in their interest or not.
She's like all Jew checking people, dude. Get the fuck out of here. Get the absolute fuck out of here. It's because they know. It's because I think like New York Jews just have a way about them, right? They're New Yorkers first, because anybody in New York is a New Yorker first. But then they're smart. These are smart people. People are smart, and they know that that Intifada is not like a genocide. It's like a God bless America sort of thing or whatever. It's like we, you know, how Christians are like, oh, well, we have to struggle against Satan or whatever. It's that sort of thing. Almost every religion has some concept like that. They just don't like it because it's these people have the wrong imaginary friend. That's it. That's the whole fucking thing. Here's Greg Gutfeld on the 5. Because you know who all the fucking the Jews in New York are fucking just dying to have a conversation with and hang out with? It's fucking Greg Gutfeld.
So Eric Adams, Greg, basically said about Mondami's, one of Mondami's plans is these city-run grocery stores. Apparently, according to Eric Adams, Mamdani read it wrong. There is no city money to open up these grocery stores.
Yeah, he's not very
well. No.
Three things you got to focus on with this guy. One thing is he said globalize the infatada. How can
the infatada? Is that like an infant? Is that like the infatada? Is that like this? The infants will take over.
In New York, vote for a guy who says that. That's like Harold voting for a guy who pledges to bring back slavery, Jim Crow, and blackface.
Wait, what?
So if you're Jewish,
but isn't that your platform? The infatada, it's just a struggle. It's like a struggle for peace. The same. They're doing the same thing with this that they did from fucking to the river to the sea, right? When they're like, oh, the river to the sea, and I'm like, America says from sea to shining sea. What the fuck's the difference?
Living in New York and you vote for that guy, don't talk to me. Zoran.
Right, but nobody, dude, first of all, this guy fucking would probably claim to hate New York. Will never leave New York. And I don't think like a lot of liberal New York Jews want to talk to this guy. Why the fuck do they want to hang out with Greg Gutfeld?
What did he say? He says he plans on increasing taxes on white neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Is that racist? Or is it because the neighborhoods are the wealthiest? Well, the ethnic group with the highest median household income is Indian at $147,000. What is Zoran's background? Indian. So this is a racist decision, or he would be focusing on Indian enclaves and not white ones. And lastly,
but the rich Indians want to move to the places that you're calling white because they're like, it's like Soho and like it's like Soho and maybe like WeHo, like they want to WeHo. Actually, that's L.A. But they want to. Rich people want to move where the rich people are, and the rich neighborhoods in New York he thinks they're white neighborhoods.
Third point. What is the area that the media avoided that we focused on that destroyed Biden? Trans. Mandoni or whatever his name is, it's advocating for expanding.
Just call him Zoran.
Gender mutilation in New York City using our money. Mm-hmm. He's proposing an immediate theft of $65 million to fund this butchery, taking millions from New Yorkers to fund sex changes. That should be enough. Mm-hmm.
But if there's health care provided by the city, this is all really dumb. Biden didn't lose. Kamala Harris was the candidate, and the reason, I think there's a lot of reasons she lost, but one of them was the late stage switcheroo. And not for nothing, the Democratic Party did not lean into that in the 2024 election. They were like afraid of the issue. Now we're gonna maybe this guy fudged his immigration paperwork. Although I think didn't he move here when he was a fucking child? Like, did his parents fill out his immigration paperwork?
Let's fix, secure the border. Let's make sure that ICE is funded. So you look at Nashville, which has been in the news because of the deportations, because of the woke Nashville mayor literally interfering with ICE. Now ICE is going to have the personnel and the resources to come into cities like Nashville, like Chicago, like LA, and quite frankly, deport people in New York. And quite frankly, not to shift topics, but if Zoran fudged on his immigration forms, we may very well be deporting him. Time will tell.
Yeah, well, we want to get there, Congressman, but before we...
So, homeboy didn't fill out his own immigration paperwork. He came here when he was a child, and I don't think his parents are with us anymore. Fucking crazy talk. They just want to fucking deport him because he won an election and has the wrong imaginary friend and looks all fucking Araby, even though they don't know that, they don't care that he's Indian, right? They're probably going to call him Arab anyway. Trump said he's going to arrest him. Here's more Benny Johnson, this time on the Charlie Kirk show. Trump's going to have him arrested. What for? Who fucking cares?
And so, Benny, kind of taking a step back here and covering socialism for quite some time, what is the driving force of Mamdani and how do we defeat him?
Yeah, well, Trump told me yesterday he's just going to put him in jail. So there's that. But that's because Mamdani is proposing multiple policies that are patently illegal. Mamdani wants to tax people based on their skin color. He says so, and he doubled down on that, Charlie, in fact, this weekend, saying that white people in New York need to pay more taxes. That's something...
I guarantee you he didn't say that.
Obviously drew a rebuke from the Trump Justice Department, but President Trump told me yesterday when I asked him about Mamdani that he's going to be facing serious federal threats for stopping ICE enforcement in the city of New York. This is what he promised to do when he won in his nomination speech last week. So how do you stop him? I'm not sure. And it begs the question, Charlie, that I don't know the answer to, which is, do we let our great American cities fail? Do we give them what they want? Democracy, of course, is the people know what they want and they deserve to get it good and hard. So
good and hard. Ugh.
Give New Yorkers the communism that they wish to live under. Is that the only way to learn? I don't know the answer to that question.
Just this mere suggestion that New York City is communist is like, it's the same thing when they say, oh, Silicon Valley is communist. I'm like, that's a capitalist this is a very fiercely capitalist place. New York City, fiercely capitalist, not communist, fiercely capitalist. It's where fucking Wall Street is. That's not for nothing. It's like where everybody at Fox News lives. But if you want to see the government get overthrown, which I don't want to see, that would be messy. People would die. But if that's what you want, arrest the mayor of New York for fucking mayoring. Just go do it. Go do it. Watch what happens in this country. I do not want this. That is, maybe there's some accelerationists out there who think that this would be, a good idea because it, basically cause like a fucking uprising. You're going to get people that didn't vote for this guy. You're going to get people that probably fucking don't even like him or whatever that are going to fucking want to overthrow the government. You can't just go around like arresting people for winning an election on a platform you don't like. I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is all bluster. I think they're not going to do it. But if they do, fucking hold on. Here's Zoran responding to all this bullshit.
And developing this morning, President Trump wasting no time taking aim at the now official Democratic nominee for New York City mayor.
Day one of Zoran Mamdani's campaign met with threats of arrest and deportation. Pix 11's Kirsten Cole joining us live here in the studio with more on this. Kirsten, good morning.
And good morning to you guys. And we've heard similar threats from President Trump previously. Now they're leveled at him. Mamdani is not shy about taunting the president in response in this moment, releasing his very first campaign video.
Taunting? You're not taunting any. Wait, who taunting? I don't know. Come on, Pix 11. Come on.
People who voted for Trump in the recent election now voted for him in the Democratic primary, a shift in support as the president now threatening to withhold.
Ooh, if you want to piss Trump off, you go, hey, man, I think I got a lot of votes from people who voted for you. Oh, that'll fucking piss Trump off. Oh, very good.
City.
Zoran Mamdani, officially named the Democratic nominee after 3 rounds of ranked choice voting. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, besting Andrew Cuomo 56% to 44%. And that win puts him in the crosshairs of President Trump, who's now incorrectly labeling the nominee a communist, and went on to issue a threat to Mamdani, saying he'll have him arrested if he's elected and interferes with ICE agents, then using another by now familiar tactic, calling into question Mamdani's legal naturalization status. He's been a citizen since 2018. He then called Mayor Eric Adams a good independent.
Those voters came back. Brighton Beach went for Trump by 44.
Oh, I was wrong. I thought he came here when he was a kid. I think he didn't finish the process.
Last week,
we won it by
16.
I was wrong.
President Trump also referenced money that's earmarked for the city, mostly for education and services for the poor. He's previously withheld funds to New York State and even pulled money paid to New York City back out of its coffers. Dan Cassino, a political scientist at Fairleigh Dickinson University, saying we could see more of that.
The city is still getting, think about $7 billion a year in direct transfers from the federal government. And almost all of that is for education and services for the poor. Now, we should say all of this, saying, well, if I don't like your mayor, I'm going to cut, spending that's been allocated by Congress and passed by Congress. That is all illegal. Like, you're not allowed to do.
Oh, fucking, that's great. The Democrats will write a strongly worded letter that it's illegal.
In a statement, the President of the United States just threatened to have me arrested, stripped of my citizenship, put in a detention camp, and deported. Not because I've broken any law, but because I will refuse to let ICE terrorize our city. We will not accept this intimidation.
And just on Monday, we saw the power of the purse at play. More money withholding tactics. The Education Department federally notifying states that $7 billion in money already approved by Congress would not be distributed. It was meant to pay for after school and summer programming, as well as support for students learning English. Another example of how the executive branch is using funding to push its own agenda.
So that's fucking, that's great that it's illegal. What's Congress going to do? They don't got no police. They can't enforce any of this, right? Our republic is weak. Our republic is very weak. There's no, the judicial, right? Let's say there's a court order that Trump doesn't want to follow. Well, he doesn't follow it. You know why? Because the judges can't do anything about it. The Congress can't do anything about it. We're going to send the sergeant of arms for the House to fucking go arrest Donald Trump? I don't think so. All of the policing power and the military is all under the executive branch federally. And so homeboy can just do what he wants. This is from the Valuetainment show, Patrick Bet David. Here's his fucking co-host saying that I guess we should put the youngs in concentration camps. I'm sorry, re-education camps.
This leads to the next thing where Bill Ackman promises to fund centrist, and Adam, I'm coming to you, candidate to defeat socialist Mamdani in New York City mayoral race. Ackman, who's a $10 billion guy, announces intent to fund a centrist candidate, challenge him, Mamdani, to presumptive Democratic nominee and a Democratic socialist in New York City mayoral race. Who's your best centrist candidate who would go toe-to-toe with Mamdani in the campaign trail and on the debate stage? Let's crowdsource.
They're just going to split the anti-Mamdani vote, and it's going to be an even bigger bloodbath if they do this.
Do a poll. If someone is ready to raise their hand, I will take care of the fundraising. Mamdani, also a member of the Democratic Socialists of America and the Working Family Party, defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo. So now you're getting guys like Bill Ackman getting involved who are not wanting this. Adam, your thoughts on this?
There's so much to unpack here with this guy. And this is a story that is not going to be going away until the election actually happens in November. So it's like, what do you get when you mix AOC and jihad? You get
what the fuck, dude? The guy is not a jihad. Okay, friend, shut the India. Like, okay, historically, Indian Muslims have been very moderate. I don't even like the language, like just being like, oh well, Indians or Muslims in other countries are fucking jihadi. But like historically, like the Muslim population in India has been like moderates and have been like brutalized by Hindu nationalists.
Zoran Mamdani. So in my opinion, PBD, you've interviewed how many mafia type guys, New York City type guys? In my humble opinion,
I don't think the mob hangs out with Patrick Bet David.
I don't think New York City is going to go for this. And I think they're going to take care of this one way or another, if you know what I'm saying.
Homeboy just said that he's I know he's not calling for it, but he's pretty much calling for for Zoran to be fucking assassinated. You want to see a civil war in this country? Fucking assassinate this guy.
The threat will be eliminated. That is my humble opinion. I do not see this guy ended up
saying
winning.
He's not going to win. I just want to qualify, because when he says
no, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said the fucking in 1974, the mob's going to take him out.
Stuff like that. We are running a live interpretation. Adam, can you clarify what you really didn't mean?
I'm saying that I don't think that the establishment is going to let this guy win.
That's right.
We're talking about Bill Ackman.
No, that's not what you said.
Right now, and how he's going to basically say, "I'm here. I have your back. I'm to the rescue. Give me your best centrist candidate, and quote unquote, I will take."
Who's that? The center, New York is a progressive place. What's the center in New York is probably Zoran.
Care of the fundraising. I will take care of the rest. So, what's happening with this guy is this is the perfect foil to whatever Donald Trump stands for. This is American capitalism versus global socialism, jihadism. And you know,
homeboy is not a jihadi. I hate to be fucking the one. I don't know. Jihad just means struggle too. Again, like just because it sounds all fucking Araby, you're afraid of it. But jihad does not mean like killing all the fucking people that aren't Muslim. It's the translation is struggle. Intifada, the translation is struggle against oppression. The word intifada is referenced in the Holocaust Museum. Like when it's translated into, I forget, Farsi, I think it is, when it's translated into Farsi, there's some struggle that the Jews, I forget what it was. I think it was on the Kristallnacht, that when it gets translated into I believe Farsi, they say that the Jews engaged in intifada against the Nazis.
Keep saying, oh, he's a communist. He's a communist. So, and by the way, let's just not gloss over what he said in that quote. He says, we're going to hear and bring socialism, whether you believe in BDS, aka, killing all the Jews.
But no. BDS, it doesn't mean killing all the Jews. It's just boycott, divest, and sanction. It's the strategy that people believe directly led to the overthrow of the apartheid regime in South Africa, which I don't think this guy is too happy about having had happen.
Or seizing the means of production.
Sorry, everybody. It wasn't the Kristallnacht. It was the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. That's right. Thank you. Chat corrected me.
What could go wrong here? It's not like we have countless examples of the problems that socialism and communism bring to the table. And then here's my final point. You see the numbers, and I'm sure we'll get into it, of Gen Z and college-educated Gen Z, college-educated female Gen Z who are voting for this in New York.
Well, that's who y'all hate the most, honestly, is the bitches that went to college. I understand.
And I'm saying this
because they won't go out with you.
Hypothetically, sarcastically, but almost literally, there's a big portion of Gen Z that needs to go to American re-education camps. And I know what that basically means, re-education camps. I'm not talking about, the really, really bad kind. But,
just the kind that I want.
Whole segment of society that genuinely needs to be re-educated on what America is and what America is not. And America is not Zoran Mandani. You're telling me that a democratic, socialist, communist jihadist is going to be mayor of the epicenter of capitalism where Wall Street exists?
Yes.
This makes no sense. If you want to understand that you're living in bizarro world, this is it.
Yes, it is the epicenter of capitalism. It's the system that jihadi places like Switzerland, Norway. He's like advocating maybe like Germany, more moderate, because the Northern European countries, they're pretty dramatic in the way they redistribute wealth. But those are capitalist countries too. That dude's a Nazi. I try not to call anybody a Nazi like during the podcast part of the show, because I haven't even had anything to drink. I haven't had any fucking weed or anything. That homeboy, PBD's like a fascist, but that dude's a Nazi. He wants to take all the college educated women and put them in a fucking re-education camp because they voted basically in their own interests. They hate fucking college educated women. And that's because college educated women won't go out with them and they won't go out with their viewers, right? These people are like kind of men's rights activists sort of people. They're like Gamergate rejects or whatever. And if there's one thing those fucking people hate, it's a woman with an education, because she doesn't need you. So she's going to go out with who she wants. They want to go back to the world where a woman wasn't allowed to have no fucking credit card without her husband signing for it and shit. That's kind of what these guys want. And that ain't happening. That ain't happening. We got one more before we go to red light. This is a story about a preacher in Indianapolis, Indiana, and he fucking seems fantastic.
Well, back here at home, an Indianapolis church is calling for members of the LGBTQ plus community to be put to death or to kill themselves.
Indianapolis faith leaders, they're condemning the message. iTeammates Kyla Russell joins us now with video of that sermon and why the
oh my fucking God
community says that it's deeply harmful. Kyla.
Yeah, hey there, Farron. So the sermon was titled Pray the Gay Away and was given from the
Now let's gay the pray away.
Inside the Sure Foundation Baptist Church on the northwest side of the city.
There's nothing good to be proud about. Being a you want to blow yourself in the head, in the back.
Whoa, dude, man, listen, if I was, it would be very hard for me not to just rush the fucking stage and like redacted, against the wall, redacted.
In the head. You're so disgusting.
That's Stephen Falco. He's inside the Fundamental Baptist Church and is speaking during men's preaching night. The event was live streamed on their Facebook.
Got a bunch of that want to come around, walk on our streets and demand our children, and we should look them in the eye and say, no, you're not going to have our children.
Falco continues to call for the death of the queer community. And following the sermon, I reached out to the church about his words. They told me that Falco is only calling for the death penalty and suicide for the actual sodomites or homosexuals.
The church is like, don't worry. Don't worry. It's, he's just saying exactly what you think he's saying. Oh, okay. Well, now that's fine now, actually. Thanks for clearing this up about church officials.
That those people are worthy of death. They are supposed to be executed by the government. We are not to take the law into our own hands. I also reached out to members of the LGBTQ plus.
Ooh, that braids place next door. If that's what I think it is. That's like I think that might be like a black lady hair salon. Ooh, they probably don't like this guy because he probably don't like them.
Community to ask how this rhetoric impacts them. Allie Klausing is a mom to 4 kids and an advocate in the community.
Children are targeted silently and violently. These children don't know social constructs until we teach them that. And so when we're teaching them through hate and disguising it through scripture, what we're doing is abusing them invisibly.
The concerned clergy of Indianapolis tells me the message is theologically irresponsible and pastorally dangerous, saying they stand for dignity, inclusion, and justice for all people, including their LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters.
You're just seeing it get worse and worse and worse. And like I said, I don't know which one's scarier, the people that
Preacher Boys podcast
internalize it and feel that way, but you wouldn't know it, because they don't say it publicly.
That's Eric Skwarczynski. He grew up in a fundamental church and now investigates abuse and extremist behavior in churches like this.
Oh, he's probably cool.
Podcast. He says growing up, it was common to hear church members say they would rather their child be dead than gay. But it's just recently that the language is becoming so literal.
Christian nationalism in general is on the rise. You're seeing
white Christian nationalism
that in the last couple of years was unspoken, or at least only spoken in the 4 walls of a church, now make it into the mainstream.
He says it's because each generation of the fundamentalist church is in competition with the last, working to become a more extreme version.
The phrases of, they need to be shot in the back of the head was iterated twice. Clearly, it's something they were hearing from other people within the church that they're now parroting.
When this stuff happens, I look at them as, I think they're sick. And I think that they need mental health help. I think
no, actually, I don't like this language at all. I mean, homegirl, she's cool. Like, we'll give her a mulligan, but no, racism actually isn't a mental illness. It's like a moral failing. It was a very different thing than mentally ill are victims of bigotry, not perpetrators of bigotry.
Connected from themselves and from love.
Now, I also reached out to the denomination's leader to ask if they agree with the sermon and have not yet heard back. I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is here is don't go to a church in a strip mall. You're probably not going to get anything good. I don't know what to. Fuck it. Show's over. But if you're watching live, as always, stick around. We're going to go into red light. If you're listening on the podcast, thanks for sitting through another week of horrible news. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever your pods are cast. And if you want the red light portion of the show, check us out live sometime. We're live every Sunday at twitch.tv/EchoPlexMedia. Or you can join on Patreon or at eplex.store at the $5 or higher level. The entire show will get sent to your inbox the day after the show is recorded and one day before the podcast goes out. So like I said, everybody watching live, kick it. We're not going anywhere. Things aren't going to get better, but we're not going anywhere. We're back for red light. I need to change the color of the lights in this room and certainly need to pour a strong drink. This is Boomers by Periscope.